All right, chat, I've been told our next run is ready, so get ready to drive, fly, and hover to victory as Leah claims the win in our all trophies races of Diddy Kong Racing.
Hello. I am currently the world record holder in this category, which is basically just all cups, pretty much. Like, yeah, imagine this is DKR's equivalent of all cups, and this game is really something. It's very fast. As alluded to, we have 3 vehicles we're going to be using. We also got a couple sneaky out-of-bounds tricks and stuff, but I'm not going to waste any more time on my end and get right into this, so I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck.
So, if you've ever watched a DKR speedrun, the speed tech you are most likely to be familiar with is A-tapping. There are a lot of misconceptions about it, so I'll try and clear them up as best I can here. It is not mashing, but basically when you press the A button in the car vehicle, you will get a burst of acceleration, but you'll also get traction onto the ground. So what A-tapping does is, by rhythmically tapping the button, you can get the effect of the acceleration, which of course speeds you up, but you can also minimize the effect of the traction, which slows you down, kind of caps your top speed. So that basically lets you go quite a bit faster than normal. And we're already going into a pretty crazy track here, Fossil Canyon. Kind of anything can happen here. This is probably said to be the hardest second level ever in a racing game. And such as... oh, not a good line. Oh. This canyon section especially is really weird. There is a really cool looking trick you can do there called Canyonless, which the name might be taken from another N64 game you might have heard of, but if I get it here... oh, I didn't. If you get that zipper and that balloon, you can get a big jump into the canyon, and then if you connect that with the blue balloon in the canyon as well, you can fly out of it at an incredible speed. I still have a chance to get it on lap 3 here. Ah, never mind. But jumps are what make car... jumps are bring out the best in car, and thankfully this track also has a bunch of jumps. Because jumps basically... whatever speed you have when you go off a jump, you preserve the entire time you're in the air. So jumps let you go really fast if you combine them with a zipper, like that.
Mentally, it's very tough for me because I keep seeing the bananas and I'm like, panic, but we want the bananas. This is Diddy Kong.
Just a little bit here, and after 3 car tracks, we are going to be going into our first plane track here. And when you see plane in a DKR speedrun, there's usually one thing it means. Doesn't mean this all the time, but most of the time it means that we're not going to be going quite the right way. What did I do there? So basically, the barrel roll in the plane, which is our main speed tech, it kind of negates the effect of any liquids, which includes the lava. Yes, for some reason the lava doesn't, like, cause us any harm. I don't know how. It acts more like molten cheese than anything, but the barrel roll kind of negates the effect of it bringing us up to its surface, which allows us to basically fly directly below that wall. And from there we've just got 2 checkpoints in this track we need to hit, one at the top and one at the bottom. And just like that, we can complete the track considerably faster than we can normally. And those barrel rolls in plane, you want to be letting go of the A button pretty much the entire time you're doing them, because holding the A button in plane will kind of cap your speed, kind of brings you down to your vehicle's normal top speed, whereas when you let go of it, you can kind of just go all out. I'm going to talk about plane for a minute, because we've got one of only 3 hovercraft races right here. Now, hovercraft is usually casual players' least favorite vehicle, which is a fair judgment, to be fair, because you're not really told how you're supposed to control it. So it can seem frustrating and really difficult to control and clunky, but the secret to hovercraft is to hold the R button, because this gives you way better control of your vehicle. And what you can do from there is combine it with snaking from up left to up right on the joystick repeatedly. Not like spamming it or anything, but decently quickly. And that will let you go quite a bit faster, because there's an inbuilt speed mechanic in hovercraft where it gains speed on turns. So basically what we're doing with snaking is just turning on straight lines constantly to get the benefit of that. And finally what you can do from there is also add in A-tapping, which is... it's done quite differently to in car. It's almost better described as A-releasing, because whereas in car you want to kind of be slapping that A button, in hover you almost want to kind of like hold your thumb over the button but just release it for like a frame each time. So yeah, it feels a bit different, and it's harder to do properly. Hovercraft has a lot of weird quirks, but it is very fun once you get used to it, even if it might seem intimidating to get into just because of how admittedly not very fun it is casually. It is a lot of players' favourite vehicle in speedrunning, and for good reason. Unfortunately, it is a bit underrepresented in RTA. Out of the 20 tracks in this run, only 3 of them use hovercraft, and we've already just done 2 of them. But we're back to car for a little bit here. Pleasant Island is... Pleasant Island's a fairly chill track, as far as speedrunning goes. It's a very fun one when you go all out, but going all out is quite risky, so that's usually reserved for time trials. But this is one of the craziest time trials to watch. For sure. Oh dear. The ship section is a little weird to navigate, but oh, big boost. Since it's a fairly chill track, I can kind of explain a bit about lag in this game, which is a major factor of speedrunning it. So lag kind of affects the physics, or essentially the physics are tied to the frame rate. A lot of the time the game will run at 20 FPS, which is... yeah, that's kind of the default. But sometimes it can go up to 30, and sometimes it can go down to 15. And generally, when you're speedrunning, you want high frame rate when you touch a boost, or use a blue balloon. And you kind of want low frame rates in the second half of your boost. In the first half of your boost, you are building up speed, and it kind of works by... you get like a set amount of speed every frame, so, you know, the more frames you have, the more speed you can build. And then in the second half of the boost it works in reverse. You lose a bit of speed every frame, so you want a lower frame rate, less frames per second to lose that speed on. And learning to control that is one of the most important things when speedrunning this game. It separates the good players from the really good players. Now, I've been talking quite a bit here, but we are going into Snowflake Mountain now, which is already our 3rd trophy. And we've got quite a long inbounds plane track here, which is it's quite a difficult one. And I do tend to like focusing for it, so I'm going to hand over to the hosts here for the duration of this track.
Perfect timing, because we just opened a brand new milestone for that Peggle Extreme run coming up in 2 runs. If we meet it, we will get a bonus Scott % run of Peggle Extreme, which is some really great content, actually. That will close in about 3 hours. We're looking for 275 total dollars raised for Girls Make Games. That's a milestone, so every time you donate, that goes towards that. So if you want to influence something at the beginning of the Peggle Extreme run, remember we have that bid war open for the file name right now. Nobody has put anything towards that file name bid war. If you donate, you get to decide. At least until somebody else donates and helps us continue to raise money for Girls Make Games. Do you have a preference on file name for us here, Leah?
John.
John? Let's see. I think of our names, John is probably closest to maybe Toasty Jimmy, I think. So, chat, donate to Toasty Jimmy for Leah.
Yes, please.
Lighting in that tunnel made me immediately think we have Rainbow Road at home.
This track is, I'd say it's a fan favorite, especially casually. Like, I think Snowflake Mountain in general is probably the favorite world of many people who played this game as a kid. Like, the Christmas vibes are present in pretty much every track here, especially this one, and the fourth track of this world as well, which we'll see in a little bit. This is also a very difficult track. Snowflake Mountain is generally regarded as the second hardest world in the game in speedrunning. And in fact, when we run this category for PB, we actually starting with this trophy, because you can do the trophies in any order. We used to do the hardest one first, but we've actually found some success doing this one first as well. Because pretty much this trophy is made up of a difficult plane race at the beginning, and then 3 really difficult car races after it. So, yeah, the sooner you can get those out of the way, the better. And this track is probably the most hectic track in the run. Kind of anything can happen here. It's like Fossil Canyon, the sequel, pretty much. Fossil Canyon, but it's winter. There are so many boosts you can get here that are really difficult to get, and you'll never get all of them in one run. Like, I could be getting that last boost there as well, to get a nice jump over the finish line, but it's just so hard to get everything right here. And avoid the snowball as well. All things considered, that was an above-average snowball valley. That track can go really wrong sometimes. But this is a really fun
No,
thing.
you...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, you had said this goes really fast, but honestly, I feel like I'm blinking and I'm missing, like, the entire track, so you're really making this look, like, super smooth.
Yeah, the speed you can get in this game it feels uncapped almost at times. It's really incredible. Like, a lot of people like to compare this game to Mario Kart 64. If I can compare them with regards to, like, as a speed game, like, Mario Kart 64 was like a precision speed game, at least non-shortcut. Like, in non-shortcut time trials in that game, your time is pretty much based on how precise you are, how tight your lines are. In DKR, it is about how much speed you build up, and lines are like an afterthought. They're still important, of course, but they're not usually the main consideration. It's more about getting these big jumps, chaining zippers together. If you chain a boost into another boost, the boost stacks. It doesn't just like add to the duration, it actually stacks up and you go way faster. So any sequence, like in that track where you got 4 zippers like quite close to each other near the end, yeah, you can go very, very fast. We're going into our last hover track here. I missed the start boost. Oh no. That's only a minor issue. That actually lets me talk a bit about rubber banding, which does not exist in DKR for the most part, but one of the very few instances of rubber banding is that if you miss the start boost, or get a weak start boost, so will your opponents. But that is like such a minor thing that it doesn't really matter. Thankfully, this game doesn't have rubber banding like Mario Kart does. Which instead means that the CPUs tend to act as like stationary obstacles. depending on how fast you're going, you'll get used to like where you tend to meet up with them, because you'll be lapping them quite a lot. Like if you look at the map here, I'm about to catch up with the pack here, who are a lap behind, and they could cause me some problems in the next section. Of course, having more things on the screen means the game's going to lag more, and the game absolutely tanks the frame rate here. This isn't stream lagging, this is the game lagging. The game's running at 15 frames a second. It went down to 12 there for a second. This game is doing its best, but the N64 is only so powerful. But with that, we say goodbye to hover for the rest of the run. But you actually can see a lot more hovercraft if you go to the individual track modes, like time trials. Check out the time trial website, by the way, dkl64.com. I've got to plug that every marathon run I do for this game. Because a cool thing about DKR that I've not mentioned yet is you can actually play most of the vehicles on most of the track. So, if you go into track mode, you can actually play hovercraft on every track in the game. It's just only the default vehicle for 3 of them. But that does technically mean you have 20 different hover time trials you can do. So hover is a big part of our time trial theme, which is really nice because it's allowed us to really fully explore the stuff you can do, and a lot of those non-default hover tracks are some of the most enjoyable. Also, this is quite a difficult car track. I've been talking about hover the entire time for one of the harder car tracks. I really like Greenwood Village. It's a very, very fun track. Personal favourite of mine. Alright, this is the hardest out of bounds in the run. Gonna really hope I get this because it's quite painful to miss. Oh, this is not a good start. I'm running low on bananas. Bananas speed you up. Each one adds 2.5% to your top speed. Let's see if I get this anyway. Okay, I did still get out. As you can imagine, the less bananas you have, the harder it is to do out of bounds clips if you need like a lot of speed to clip out. You can get up to 9 in this track, and you really do feel the difference between even just having like 1 less or 1 more banana than you normally do. Like typically you really want at least 8 for this track, but it's not always easy to actually get that many. On top of having a really difficult clip, which at one point, maybe like 10 years ago, wasn't even considered viable for RTA runs, this also has the hardest out of bounds movement. There are a bunch of like verticality changes and stuff in this track. There are a bunch of places where it's very easy to clip back in bounds as well, which is one of the most painful things you can do. Try not to do that. But that was fairly smooth, all things considered. And closing out our 4th Cup trophy here, we have another quite difficult car track, but also a really short one. And another personal favourite of mine. There is this big jump here, which is kind of a blind turn. Oh, sometimes you just go over that zipper. Not much you can do about it. I think there's like a really tiny slope right before it. And sometimes you get just a tiny, imperceptible amount of airtime and jump right over it. But I have another opportunity here. There we go. That's what you want to get. Yeah, very good last lap at least. That's how a lap should look there. One thing I want to note quickly going into our final trophy, I'm playing on a cartridge that does not have Adventure 2 unlocked, which actually lets me have 1 less menuing text box right there every time I menu into a trophy. It saves 4 menuing presses over the whole run, which amounts to an extremely tiny amount of time. This track does have an out of bounds, but it's not RTA viable really, so this is just a really difficult inbounds playing track. And with that, I think I'm gonna hand over to the hosts again for this one.
Thank you. I wanted to remind everybody that we are raising money for Girls Make Games, because while women make up nearly half the gaming population, less than 24% of game developers in the US are women. The Girls Make Games was created to address this gender gap and create a space for girls to explore the world of video games. If you'd like to help us explore the world of video games, continue supporting Leah here as she continues to blast through this, and also make sure that when you are donating using !donate, we are raising money to get more time with Satan herself. I was going to say more time with girls, but the category is Scott percent if we get that $275%, $275 for that milestone. So if you want to see Scott percent and some more Satan herself, and also send some love to our lovely runner right now, Leah, !donate in chat as we continue to raise money for Girls Make Games.
This is one of the...
I'm also seeing a note in chat about AI harder in version 1.0 of this game. Are you playing on a different version, or are you playing on, like, whatever the current patch of, like, the 64 game would be?
So I'm playing on the Japanese version of the game, which, basically... I didn't get it. I'm playing... So the Japanese version was the first version released. I say Japanese version singular because there is only one of them. But North America and Europe actually got 2 different versions each. So 5 versions of the game in total. There's a Japanese, NTSC 1.0, US 1.0 and 1.1, and PAL 1.0 and 1.1. And I don't think the AI actually changes between the versions. But there are a few reasons why I am using Japanese, and it's not because of text speed or anything. Text speed isn't a factor in this game. It's more about Japanese exclusive tricks, and in this category there is actually only one such trick, which is actually in the very final track, so it's not really come up yet. PAL's a bit of a weird one. PAL's kind of coded differently, so that is like to account for the console being at 50 Hz instead of 60. Like the physics look a little different. But NTSC and Japanese, US and JP, they have the same physics. I'm gonna really try and get this here. Hold on. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I didn't get it. No. I was so sad I didn't get to show that off. Oh well. What I was trying to do there, the reason why I kept smashing into loot walls, there is an out of bounds you can do in that track, even though it's a car track. You can, if you smash into kind of the loot wall, right where the boost starts, at like a perfect 90-degree angle, you can actually fall out of bounds and do a little skip. It doesn't save that much time, but it looks really cool. And I really wanted to get it, but I didn't. In fairness, it is difficult. Like, we don't really go for it in runs, typically, unless we're feeling really bored. But it is very exciting when you do hit it in a run. But either way, that track and this track are 2 of the prettiest tracks in the game, I'd say. Very, very colourful. Kind of like peak N64 aesthetic. We've also got Pride's Tunnel here. And 3 months late, but happy Pride.
Never late to Pride. Happy Pride.
Every month's Pride month. Oh. You see the CPUs are really getting in my way. Oh. Ah. Ah. Alright, last track here. And this is the one I mentioned where there's actually a JP-only trick. So, being the first version of the game, there were a few mistakes they made that they fixed in other versions, and it's a really interesting mistake in this track, because the out of bounds you're going to do is not really a clip per se, as you'll see. So they just kind of forgot to put a polygon there in Japanese, in the JP version. So you can just fall out of bounds. And yeah, from there we've only got 3 checkpoints to hit. And they patched that in all subsequent versions, so you can only do that in JP. But with that out of the way, this is a pretty simple out of bounds track, and not got much time left. Time will stop as soon as I cross the finish line on lap 3, which is coming up in about 5 seconds. And there we are. I would have liked to get a 23, but I kind of sabotaged it by messing around in dark blue caverns for like 10 seconds, trying to get a loop skip and then not getting a loop skip. So that's totally on me. I did get all of Out of Bounds first try at least, and I did have some nice tracks in there. Yeah. I don't know what else there is to say about this game that I've not already said. I will say the other categories for this game, especially 100%, are really cool to watch. We actually had a new 100% world record just a couple days ago. I definitely recommend checking that track out. Track, yeah. You know what I mean, category. Same thing.
Where can the people find you if they want more Leah content?
Where can they find me? You can find me back on this channel in about 16 hours from now, I think, because I've got a second run for Completithon 2025. I'm going to be running Yohane the Parhelion Blaze in the Deep Blue, which is an absolute mouthful of a game title, but it is a Metroidvania based on an anime series. And yeah, I'm going to be running that tomorrow afternoon. Well, afternoon European time, morning for North America. And aside from that, you can find me on twitch.tv/LeahKazuno. I've been running a bunch of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD recently, so if that game interests you, you should probably follow me, because I'm going to be playing a lot of it. And I do play DKR on the side as well. Kind of go on and off between games. I switch games a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna end my yapping there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leah, for your awesome All Trophies races of Diddy Kong Racing. In chat, you've got some time to maybe race over yourself. Maybe learn that 100% world record time for next Completithon. But until then, we're going to take a quick break and Completithon will resume shortly. Hello, chat. If you're just hanging out with us, welcome to Completithon 2025, a charity event dedicated to completionist speed runs, such as 100%, all collectibles, or even categories where you collect all of a specific collectible. If you're interested in getting involved or find out more, you can join our Discord. And right now we are benefiting Girls Make Games, which was founded in order to provide girls with the space and resources to explore the world of gaming and help them pursue careers in game development. Up next, we have an interesting form of completion coming. It'll be a Super Mario Sunshine Run solo blackout bingo, which I'm really excited to see. But we're going to continue taking just a quick break as we continue to get that set up. And chat, if you're just hanging out, reminder that we do have that open bid war for naming the Peggle Extreme file. That closes at the start of Peggle, which is after the Super Mario Sunshine Run. Right now, our options are NB Claude, Toasty Jimmy, Option 4, and Half-Life 3. If you want to influence that file bid war, make sure that you use !donate in chat and mark it for that incentive. And the good news is, I've heard that Super Mario Sunshine is ready to start. So we will be starting with that real soon.